What's up, everybody? It's Frederick Douglass Bussey back with another edition of Scholastic Whiteboard Sessions. Hope this is going to be valuable for you. I think it will be. Today, we're talking about the three biggest mistakes that companies, brands, entrepreneurs make in their marketing and how you can avoid those for yourself. Drop a comment, a one in the comments below if you can hear me. Make sure the microphone check is good to go. And, oh, I wonder, we're not live. All right. Okay, we're back once again. I'm Frederick Douglass Bussey. We're back with another Scholastic Whiteboard session. Today, I'm excited to be talking about something I think is going to be super valuable. When I talk to clients all the time, when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, and they're talking about some of the struggles that they're having as they're scaling their businesses, this one always comes up. I want to talk about the top three mistakes that companies, brands, entrepreneurs are making when it comes to marketing their business and what they have to offer the world. All right, let's go to work. Hey, drop a one in the comments below if you can hear me. Let me know in the comments where you're watching this from, or you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever the case may be. I think we're going to have something that's going to really be a lot of value for you. Also, I want to give a shout out to my father, who yesterday celebrated his 77th birthday. I believe it's 77. 77 years of life. He's got 16 amazing grandchildren, a couple of great grands as well. So he's out there thriving and doing his thing. And so I just want to salute him as well. That being said, let's get into what we have to talk about today, which is the three biggest mistakes that companies, brands, entrepreneurs are making when it comes to marketing their business. And really, it doesn't matter how big you are. I see these mistakes being made over and over again. You'd be surprised that even whether you're spending millions of dollars a year or hundreds of millions of dollars a year on ad spend or a couple $100 a month, people make these mistakes. And it's very, very fundamental because people are human. And there's a very big misconception about what marketing really is and things of that nature. And so I want to kind of dive into that quickly so we can get you in and out, but hopefully you understand what this is, how this is going to be helpful for you and being able to scale and acquire more customers, clients, leads, etc. Right? So as always, we deal with the Scholastic model, trademarked, of course, by Icon Status. This is what we do. We are sharing our framework with companies and clients that we work with to be able to help them to be able to get the most out of their business and to accomplish their goals. One of the things that we talk about is how you can gain more momentum, right? And we do that in three major ways, which is mindset, influence, and leverage, right? And so when we combine these three elements, when we have these three pillars down, it's able to create cohesive momentum consistently, repeatably, predictably. That's what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to put a quarter in and get $1 out every single time. No matter what the effort is, we want to be able to get the ideal outcome that we're trying to create. So when it comes to marketing, the top three mistakes that marketers are making, that people are making in their marketing, there's different elements to influence, right? And so we talk about four main areas, which is marketing, it's sales, it's branding, and it's leadership, right? Now, the reason why these are all so important to understand is because they are all connected in some way. And in many ways, they overlap. But we break them apart because they have different elements that are included in them, right? And when it comes to marketing, there's actually a ton of different things that you can do, a lot of strategies you can implement. There's a framework that you can put around it to be able to understand exactly what that is. But today, we're not going to talk so much about that. Let's talk about what people are not doing right and how we can be able to help them, support them to be able to go forward in what they're trying to create. And one of the biggest reasons why people struggle is because they have a misconception about what marketing is supposed to do. And a lot of people are mixing up marketing with advertising. And so they're just throwing it at people instead of understanding that marketing is something that you do alongside people. It is almost, as we call it, it's an inception. right? So it's almost as if you're planting an idea inside someone's head and making them think that it was their own. And in reality, the reason why that works so well is because it is, right? It is their own idea. So how do you use what other people are thinking, feeling, and experiencing to be able to influence them, attract them, and be able to get them interested in what you have to offer in a very special way, right? So the first mistake that people are making is that they have the wrong audience, right? You're talking to the wrong people. And it's very simple. If I am selling medication that is targeted towards senior citizens, am I going to pitch it in a magazine or on a blog or website that is intended for young people? No, of course not. But what a lot of people are doing is that they're spraying their marketing messages all over the place and in places where it's not really welcome, where it's not understood, where people can't hear them. And so what they're doing is they're wasting their time and their money and their efforts. And when you get that radio silence, when you get that lack of engagement with your marketing, when you get the metrics back and it seems like people aren't paying attention, you're wondering, well, why is this not working, right? Why is it not going out to the people that I want to be able to reach? Well, the fact of the matter is it's not hitting them because you're not talking to the right people. And if you want to have the right audience, a lot of times what I hear entrepreneurs say or business owners say is we don't know how to reach that audience, right? You don't know how to connect to those people. But if those people exist, which you would assume that they do, if you're making this product or you have this service that's going to support them or help them in some way, if that's the case, then they have to be somewhere. And if they are somewhere in certain spaces, why are they there? And what many people lack is an understanding of why they are in those spaces, how they can connect with them, how they can reach them, right? And so every audience has a language. They have codes that they move throughout the world with. And so if you don't understand that code, you won't know how to reach them. And very often, because they don't, they just talk to whoever. I see a lot of companies, they're spending money on marketing. They've hired a new agency to be able to do these things. And they assume that the agency knows more about their audience than they do. So they hire them to do that work. And in reality, if you're not diving deep and going into the understanding who your audience is, then you can't outsource that to someone else. They may or may not understand that, but you can't make that assumption. And so essentially what you're doing is a disservice to the audience that you're trying to reach, and a disservice to your clients or your customers because you're not able to fully support them if you don't really understand what they're up to. And I see this happen over and over and over again. And the biggest reason why this happens, I find a lot of times, is because it's very hard. People don't want to do that work. I'll give you an example, for instance. So, turn of the 1900s, early 1900s, in the Savoy Hotel, they had the very first electric elevator, right? So prior to, all elevators were pretty much manually operated. You had somebody that was running it. They had an electric elevator. It was a wonder of the world. A lot of rich, famous celebrities, glamorous people, wealthy people would come there. And so there was a young man named Guccio Gucci who had migrated from Florence, Italy at 18 years old. He had come there to find his way in the world. And so he was working there as a luggage porter. So he would push the elevator up. He would ride the elevator up with the clients as they would come. Yes, sweetheart, how are you?
Were you calling me?
I was not calling you. I'm telling a story to the people, all right?
Okay.
We'll be done. It'll be lunchtime in a little bit, okay?
But if you need some help, just call me.
Okay, I will call you. Thank you. All right. So, Guccio Gucci rides the elevator with these wealthy people every day. And so he's working there for years. And the thing about Guccio was that he was very charming, very personable young man. And so what he would do is he would talk to these wealthy people. He would observe them. He would then take detailed notes every single day and study them. And so over time, over the years, for the next 20 years, in fact, he would take these notes and eventually he would open up his own luxury store called the House of Gucci. And because he had this intimate knowledge and understanding of what these wealthy individuals wanted, he had an insight that allowed him to create a superior product and be able to market it to them. And as we all know, Gucci is one of the most famous and enduring luxury brands today. And so because he was willing to do that work, it paid off for him. What few people are willing to do is to pay out to do the work, to dive in and understand their audience even better than their audience may understand themselves. If you can connect with them and have that message, then you're going to be that much more powerful in your marketing and in your messaging. All right. The second reason why your marketing isn't working, or the biggest mistake that people make, is that people don't understand the value. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't matter how valuable something is if people don't understand it, if they don't get it, right? And so what I see a lot of times over and over again is that people are putting something out there and they're assuming that it's valuable for other people because they love it, because they see that it solves a problem. When in reality, there's so many companies that years and years that we have history of companies that will launch a product and it just doesn't work, right? It can be that the value is off or that it's not being well articulated, right? I think about the famous.com, which was the internet bubble back in the early 2000s, right? The top of the 2000s. And what happened was this company launched at a time where the infrastructure wasn't really there yet for the internet. There wasn't the people weren't accustomed to being able to buy things or whatever, and their marketing was off. And so they simply couldn't articulate that value and it went bust. People lost hundreds of millions of dollars in that process. And that was just an example of one of the companies that just didn't have the ability to articulate exactly why they were so valuable to people, to the customers. Now, the customers existed. Obviously, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of pet owners in the US and millions of pet owners around the world. So to miss that aspect and not be able to articulate exactly why your brand, why your service is so valuable to people is a huge miscarriage of justice, if you will, right? And so what you get to do is you get to see and discover, how can I articulate why this is valuable for someone else? Again, and that kind of goes back to number one, which is understanding your audience. You know, if you're talking to the wrong audience, if you don't understand how to reach the right audience, if you don't understand why, what they want, why they need what you have to offer, you can't articulate why it's valuable for them. And over again, people are cut out there because they want something, but we don't understand what it is that they want. And if we don't understand what they want, we can't tell them in a way that makes sense to them. Again, people use different language, different codes that they live by. There are different value sets that they have. And so ultimately, when people talk about, creating value for people, et cetera, they really miss the point. The point of value is that, so value is synonymous with advantage. If you look it up in the dictionary, that's one of the synonyms. And so what is the advantage that your product or your service creates for me and my business? Being able to articulate that in a clear and defined way. And when you can do that better than anybody else, you can make yourself a category of one business, a 1% business. Meaning 1% meaning that you are in the 1%. You are top of mind for people whenever they step into your space. But they can't do that if they don't know why your value is there for them. If they can't see the change, the transformation that's going to occur by interacting with, by purchasing your product, by hiring you for their service, they're not going to understand that. And that's going to make your marketing much more ineffective overall. So the last reason that it doesn't work is because you simply don't do it enough. I see this mistake being made with a lot of people too, is that they're inconsistent, they are not prevalent, they don't actually invest enough into their marketing. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend more money, but it does mean that you have to be more intentional about making sure that you're putting it out there. And one of the biggest mistakes that brands make is that because we are in our own companies, because we're working on our businesses all the time, we make the assumption that everybody else is thinking about every post that we make, every ad that we put up, everything that we interact with. Being able to look at the numbers and see exactly what those numbers are doing in terms of how many people are being reached. And I mean really being reached and connected with, right? When you have the fundamentals down, you're going to be more effective. How many people do you really need to reach to be able to hit that target? Most people don't know. They don't have those metrics in place. And even when they have metrics, maybe you have an agency that's reporting those things to you, you don't really understand, and it doesn't really translate into what you need to do effectively to be able to create momentum in your business. We talk about the fact that sales is an aspect of marketing. How many people do you need to be to draw in and attract through your marketing to create enough sales to be able to continue to build and grow more momentum in your business? If you don't know that, if you're not clear on that, then what happens is as you're creating your marketing and as things are happening, you may not be doing it enough. So you may think that, well, I need to put out one flyer or one ad every week, when in reality, you need to put out 5 or 10. Because here's the other thing about this. There's some outdated thoughts and notions about what marketing is supposed to be able to do. In the past, marketers will tell you that it took about 6 to 12 impressions to be able to attract a person's attention. So somebody had to see an ad between 6 to 12 times before it really registered to them that this is something that's for me, right? But in fact, because there are so many messages that are being bombarded on each individual, right, on their cell phone, on the internet, wherever you are, you're seeing messages in so many different places, and you're seeing so many thousands of notifications coming through that our brains are literally shifting in the way that we process information, in the way that we see things that are valuable to us. So what you get to do is be able to create different types of pattern interrupts, but you have to do that consistently enough so that your message can actually pierce through. And so I see this happening over and over again. People will write one post, they'll put something up. They may have one campaign, one email marketing campaign for a few days, and they don't consistently penetrate the market to be able to penetrate the psyche of those that they're trying to reach. And so if you want to be able to cut through the noise, you've got to keep sawing. You've got to keep cutting. You've got to keep chipping away. And you have to have a long-term strategy. So if you do it once and it doesn't work, it may not be that it's not right. It may be that you're not doing it enough, consistently enough, to be able to get the results that you want over time. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You don't want to give up right before you start to get the results. You don't want to give up too soon. You want to be able to test it, be able to make sure that you're pushing it out and it's getting to the people that you want to reach. And you have to understand that people are exposed to a lot of different messages. They're seeing a lot of different things that are going on. So you want to be as prevalent as you can be in the marketing place. I was having a conversation with my coach, one of my coaches the other day. We were talking about the fact that, you want to be top of mind. You want to be omnipresent. You want to be everywhere so that now you become the obvious choice. And you do that when you've done the other things. You laid the groundworks in talking to the right people. You laid the groundworks in articulating the value. And now you can make sure that you're just getting in front of them enough so that it just makes sense, right? I got a comment here below. It says, know your audience, speak their language, articulate your value. What advantage do you bring to the table? Be prevalent and intentional. Have your metrics in place. Thank you. Somebody's been keeping notes. Absolutely. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we are consistently having all the things in place to be able to stack that value and to be able to get the results that we want. So let me know in the comments below what you've been discovering from this. We have somebody that was taking notes. I think that was Martina. She usually takes notes for us. So if that's you, then drop a 1 and let me know. Thumbs up, because I can't see your name on here. But if that's what you're discovering, then let me know. Drop a 1 in the comments below. If you're watching this on replay, drop a hashtag replay and let me know what you're uncovering through this conversation. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you follow us. Make sure that you are, if you're not yet a member of the 7-Figure Circle, $1 Million Mastermind, I encourage you to hop in there. We've got a ton of free trainings, a bunch of master classes. We just did a 2-part master class on video marketing, how you can use that to be able to scale your brand. Juan Paul Ocholaro and I did a master class where he gave us a ton of great value, and it's been one of our greatest, most well-received. We got a ton of other master classes in there talking about everything from marketing to knowing your numbers and the metrics, different things you can use to be able to support the scaling of your company and achieving the goals that you want to be able to accomplish, create more freedom, more impact, and more meaningful and significant life for yourself and the ones that you love. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe so that we can, as always, let you know when we're putting out new content, when we're dropping new events, new things that are happening. We want to make sure we're continuously bringing more value and creating a greater advantage for you in your business as you're scaling as well. All right. Hopefully this has been valuable and helpful for you. That's always a goal. That's always a purpose of why we come on here. We do these Scalosity whiteboard sessions to be able to illustrate the lessons that we're learning and that we're sharing with people as well. Everything that I'm talking to you about are things that we're implementing in our business and that we're implementing with our clients as well. If you feel like you would like some support, being able to go to the next level, getting more momentum, and you want to do that more easily, more efficiently, and without all the headaches and the stress that comes along with it, the worry that you're going to blow yourself up, burning out, whatever the case may be, shoot us a message, drop a comment below, send me a DM. Let us know how we can support you and see if it's a good fit for us to work together. All right. That being said, I am once again Frederick Douglass Bussey. This has been another Scalosity whiteboard session. Ever forward.